All right, welcome back to another episode, everybody. My name is Emery Wolf, and joining me is
Nick Lamb.
And we are just two camera guys. And this is a podcast where we're going to talk about all things camera. Nick, today, we're going to do kind of a quick hitter idea. I think this will carry us through everything, but we're going to get into gear. Always kind of a fun one. I feel like we should probably do this like once a year. Talk whatever, screw it. We'll talk about gear all we want. Never mind.
Yeah, we can talk about gear. Yeah. Have you seen that picture? Did you send it to me? Like what your client wants, and it was like a good video, something that can
No, I was talking
grab the
to
attention of my clients.
I was talking to you about that though.
Okay, yeah. And then it was like
came up on your social or something after.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Nice.
it had all the things that your client wants, and then it had all the things that you want, and it's like sweet gear, latest camera, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's typically how it goes. And actually, do you know what? I think that kind of works with where we do want to go, because the gear lists that we want to talk about today are the things that you and I swear by.
Yeah.
So, Nick, I guess maybe some background. You shoot like a lot of corporate video things.
Yeah, corporate stuff, and some more, commercials for businesses or promo content for businesses.
So for that kind of industry, what's the gear you swear by?
So my latest piece of gear that I've been loving,
latest?
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say latest.
One he swears by is the newest and greatest, folks.
Yeah, the latest and greatest. No, it's actually not. So what's interesting is I've recently got those Aperture C. Actually, they're the Amaran ones. So I got the 150 and 300 C lights that can do the color. And you'd think that would be what I'm saying, but something that I like to bring with me is those little battery operated lights. Have you shot with those before?
That's what all these are here.
Yeah,
little batteries, and then my actually 1x1s are batteries.
So this is about a 1x1, I would say, and it's an Aperture light. It's an LED one that does daylight and tungsten. They're so old that it doesn't do it in the light. You have to drop the the tungsten filter in, like what was it, CTO, I guess. But it's got batteries on the back, so it's unbelievable. Because when you're filming, so I was filming interviews for the awards show, and we had to go around. We were filming like 10 of these a day. These little battery operated lights are the best. Don't have to plug them in. You walk in, turn it on. Just as much power, tons of power in those lights. They're great. Like,
are they batteries built in, or are they like V mount or?
No, so they're essentially, I don't have the name, but they're a Sony camera battery.
I want to say it's like the Sony FP battery, that square rectangular.
Yeah, it's that classic Sony battery. But so yeah, you've got a million of them lying around usually, and so easy to charge. Yeah, I love it. They're battery operated lights. Can't do it without it now. Really can't.
Yeah, again, my kit, actually, I bought two 1x1s years ago when I was doing video stuff. Like, oh God, I feel like this is like 8 to 10 years ago now. They were pricey at the time, but I was also like, I want battery with everything.
Mm-hmm.
They also plug in, but battery was really sort of the key. The same thing, the Sony FPs. And those were my workhorses for everything. And then at work too, when we started doing stuff, that's also the direction we went. 1x1s, we've got 3 of them. Just a cheap kit too at work, Great Video Maker or whatever they're called. But I've already broke one. But I mean, they do the job and they get you out in a pinch. Do you have an example of where those lights have maybe gotten you out in a pinch?
So, oh my goodness, so many times. So half of the stuff that I do is like tons of time for setup, tons of you're really trying to dial in your look and make it look really good. And just like an example off the top of my head is the way your camera looks right now. Like, it looks sweet. Like, it's a really nice setup. You got the different lights in the background. Took a little time to craft that. But I'm not talking about that kind of shoot. I'm talking about where you're having to go out and just get content. And man, just getting enough light so you can see their face makes all the difference, because it's really the difference between it looking like uh anybody could have shot it and then it looking professional. Just getting that light under the eyes. So yeah, countless times. Seriously, it's probably bailed me out dozens of times just for the speed, because suddenly you're taking, when you've got 10 different people to get to, you're driving all over town. You're saving, if you save 5 minutes of time by not having to go plug them in, it adds up. It adds up to like an hour over your day. And you know what's great about corporate shoots? You only work during business hours, because that's when businesses are there to shoot, right?
Yeah.
You're not there. It's not like you're working on a movie where you've got till 8, 9, 10 at night.
Yeah.
You got to get it done in the business hours of the day.
I think the other key thing too, like if we're talking about gear you swear by, honestly, in my opinion, it's just like if you're gonna do anything corporate, anything for business or anything, just lights in general. They don't have to be the greatest, best lights. You just need something. And just to sort of prove my point here too. So this light that's in front of me, that's on my face. So this thing is like I can literally count the LEDs, 2, 4, 6, 8 across the top.
Yeah.
So it's not very big, right? It's like
Mhm.
a 2-inch by 6-inch thing. It's at 36%. And if I go full, like that's lighting up the room.
Oh, yeah.
And so even something like that can get you out in a pinch. Oh, now it all seems everything's
Now your
buggered
color
on my.
balance went all crazy.
Eh, hey,
Yeah,
that's
what can you do?
what you get for doing things. Um,
Yeah. Well, better than mine. I've got no lights in here.
yeah. So, anyways, the point is just a light will definitely help you out for that. Now, to change it up and
Yeah, what's
to
your
make
piece
some
of
things.
gear?
Do you know what? Before we get to me, I want to continue with you. So, like, um, Leroy and Leroy,
Yeah.
what I'm guessing lights were not the thing you'd swear by. So, what was it
No.
for Leroy and Leroy?
Oh, just a mic. It was that simple. The only thing that I swore by with that is just making sure he was mic'd up all the time,
Oh yeah,
just to get good audio for it. Because at the now you're finding good audio on a lot of the TikTok videos and Instagram videos, but honestly at the time when we were rolling, it wasn't the norm.
right.
So I think that did help separate us a little bit. Obviously the funny separated us, but I think it helped. Didn't hurt, that's for sure.
Um, Maybe an area that we're not as familiar with, but if you are willing to take a guess, if you're a portrait photographer, what would be the thing you'd swear by?
Ooh, portrait
Do you know
photographer.
what's actually funny? I'm just gonna say it right out. I bet one of the things they swear by is lights. Like now, whether that's a flash or whether it's a
Yeah,
whatever, well, it'll be some sort of flash typically, but uh, just light again would probably be their thing.
I
Or
think
there's something else I have in my
so. Well, the lens is so obvious, I think,
mind. Mhm.
because I think you would have to go by light. Now, some of my favorite portrait photographers, they definitely have a look. Have you noticed that? Where it's like either the way that they do their backlight, it's either super hard, or the way they'll bring their backlight around the side a little bit more. I'm guessing that a lot of them would swear by a hard backlight would be, or something like that. Could be
So
soft
they
front
would get
light too.
particular about it. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, but that might be the light that they need to get their shot, you know?
yeah. Yeah. Honestly, to the other thing, like I was thinking lens as with you as well. So like something with a good shallow depth that they could
Yeah.
and like absurdly sharp.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, if I'm putting my kit down, because I'll bring a lot of gear if I've got all day, but if we're just running and gunning, which happens more than you would think, then I just go down to, I've got a little pack where I put in my 50 mil, I put in my 85, and I put in my 16 to 35, and that's all I bring.
Yeah. You said a lot of gear. Is it worth it all the time?
Um, so when I'm out of town, yes, but no. No, it's not. A lot of time it just sits in the car. But it's so strange because sometimes you need a flag, and sometimes it is nice to have a flag. Sometimes you got a weird overhead light or some strange light that's sneaking in. Just block it out. Having more lights, my shoots kind of expand to the amount of lights I bring. Have you ever noticed that sometimes with yours?
Like, what do you mean?
So if I've got, say I've got 5 lights with me, I'll set up my first 3. You got your key, you got your fill, you got your backlight. And if I only had 3 lights, I'd be fine with that. But when you have more, suddenly you're like, oh, I'd like to light up that in the background. And then you bring up that. And then once you do that, then you're like, oh, I want to put some more, do a cross here. And suddenly you're using all the lights you have.
Yeah. I try not to like overthink it. And typically, like if I'm starting to hit like 3 lights, and if my 3-point lighting setup is not a 3-point lighting setup, that's when I'm starting to get like, I'm doing something wrong here.
No, yeah. On the subject, I would say yes. But then suddenly you start lighting up background and start doing a little bit more with that. At least that's how I tend to work. But yeah, I feel like you could do a lot more with less. I think that comes with experience though too. As you get more experience, you can do more with less.
Yeah. And I think too, like I said this a long time ago too, but I was listening to this like old DLP talk about lighting and how like people modern days are doing it wrong. And they'll, to soften their light, they'll put on a big box over top of it and like kill half their light doing that. And he's like, well, all you have to do to soften it is put your light closer. And then that light all spills over everything, right? And fills in the shadows. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, right. Like it makes sense. It definitely works.
Hmm.
Um, point in case, right? If I put my face closer, all of a sudden my shadows. I mean, it is harsh on my side, but it's going to be.
Yeah. Mics still don't work when you get that close though.
That's true. Sorry, but for those who were actually watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
give us a like and a share.
Yeah. Yeah, for bad
Um,
audio.
yeah,
But so what's cool about that is the different approaches. So have you ever worked with a French DOP?
no,
Okay. So uh this is an actual thing. French DOPs, for the most part, will have lights for everything. Like that's the way it was developed. So they would do, say, so if they were lighting up here, they would do a separate light for if they're lighting up these games back here, they would do a separate light for that, but then even another separate light for this top one. So there's a million different lights that come out because everything gets a light and it gets quite narrowed down. But when you look at the final result, it's really cool because it's got a lot of depth and a lot of separation to it, and it takes a little bit more time. But the results, at least from what I've seen, kind of speak for themselves with it too.
yeah. Um, so now flipping to my perspective on this. So uh, I tend to like to do a lot more nature photography now, landscape stuff. That's primarily where I focus. So I'm working with the God given light in the sky
Mm.
or lack thereof. So it's almost like the total opposite thing. So the piece of gear for me that I think, is the must have. And I actually think this does go into video, even maybe even more, but I kind of teased it with that in the background right there. Good, solid tripod.
Ooh, I like
Um,
that.
full disclosure, when I left film school, I was like, I will never use a tripod again. Hate them. They're stupid. They take time to set up. And I really liked run and gun systems, especially for documentary stuff. And then, it kept coming down to like, okay, well, I need like a little polish in this spot. How would I do that? And it'd be like, a simple pan on a good video tripod. Even if it's Manfrotto, it's still good, Nick. On a good video tripod, just it gives you that little bit of class, right? So that one in the background is my Manfrotto. I'm actually trying to sell that because I'm getting out of video stuff, but that thing made me thousands of dollars.
So you still use tripods for
Yeah.
landscape though, right?
So for landscapes, here's my, it's a Pro Master something or other XC528. Bought it at Don's Photo. It's your pretty regular 3 tripod, the one column in the middle to boost it up.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. But again, thinking dollar for donuts, not that I'm making a killing on landscape photography, but this thing would have made like it would have been all the money, right?
Yeah.
Solid tripod. It's realistically what you need.
You know what's hilarious? So Emery and I went out taking stills one day, like landscapes, and it would be kind of the difference, I think, with the amount of actual light that you started doing. You were kind of lighting it with your different filters. Like you were putting in different polas for different things. You were stacking NDs and polas, kind of crafting this Photoshop look right in camera. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Just showing. So my current tripod too is this big Ben Rowe one right here, and then compared to the other one, it's quite a size difference. But again, a good solid tripod.
So when you go out to a landscape shoot, how many tripods will you bring with you?
Depends.
Like when you're, I'm picturing
It's
like
actually
you
almost
walking.
embarrassing.
Not obviously you'll bring a couple in your car, but how many will you go when you start walking away from the car?
One.
Okay.
So like typically, yeah, I would always have 2 on me. So one as a backup in case I break one out in the field or something.
Yeah.
There's times I will have 3. And mostly I've got like a really tiny Me Photo travel one, which is also usually just another backup or something absurdly light that I can just throw in the bag. Getting back to your thing with the light too, right? Like, so I was using filters. Do you have to use filters out in the field? No. A lot of the filter things you do now can be done in Photoshop and actually can be, or Lightroom, sorry, and can be done more effectively in both. For me personally, I still do like that slow down process of trying to control the light in camera. I think it just gets me thinking about what I'm seeing a little bit more. And then, from there, I think that sort of slow down process helps improve stuff. So,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
actually went to look for that footage. I must have deleted it somehow. It's gone. I went through the drives. I can't find it.
I
Sad.
don't think the world is missing much.
Well, we should do that again sometime though. That would be fun. Film a nature photo shoot where I just basically, well, you know me, I'll film myself in it too, but ideally I'd be filming you going out on a nature shoot.
Well, it would be like those personal videos you're doing, really.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Someday, Nick, if we ever get time.
Yeah.
One other thing is kind of stupid, kind of a waste of money too, but I like organizing things. It's just like a battery holder.
Oh.
It just holds 2 batteries, but got a couple of these, and it just, when you end up having a spot for everything in your place, like or in your bag, it feels like, okay, I'm not going to lose things, and this is where things go.
Does that have a belt loop on it?
It does, yeah.
I want to make fun of you for that, but I kind of like it.
Well, I've never used it.
Okay.
Like I said, it's more or less just to keep things organized in the bag. And then 2, I know if I'm missing.
That is so true.
If this is out and I'm like, oh, where is that?
Yeah.
And then 2, like I really like my camera card holder as well.
Man, shout out to our buddy Tom. When I dropped my battery, and completely broke it, separated it from the case, and it was a disaster. Never going to work again. And our buddy Tom took it home, bunch of soldering, put a new back plate on. Works great now.
Nice.
Amazing.
So getting to kind of the next subject list is what I kind of wanted to talk about is if you're making the leap on your own and you're getting into photography or you want to get into videography, um, are the things we just said, are those still the things you would recommend to people?
No. So this is I actually so this came up about a month or two ago. I had somebody asking me about how to get into video and start making videos and doing that for businesses. And honestly, my question I asked them was like, well, what kind of stuff are you shooting right now? And the way to get into it is just make things. Like if you don't need a job, nor should you have a job when you first start out. Just
Does gear
film it.
define it though? Like can like for just an example, I'm going to throw this out, but if you're just making corporate videos, you're hustling,
Mhm.
getting small videos, doing them, and you're doing them on your iPhone.
You could do that.
Okay. As long
I
as
don't
you're
know why
making
you
bills,
couldn't.
as long as you're making bills, you don't care.
Yeah. Well,
So
like
you're saying gear doesn't matter.
it does and it doesn't. Would I want to shoot a video on my iPhone? No. Have I done videos on my iPhone? Yeah. I'll film content on my iPhone because for one, it's a whole lot easier to go vertical. Oh, look at this. We got to talk about this after. I There's an error that's happened uh, with my camera. Okay, there are elephants in the room. I got to just talk about it right now. We'll get back to that. So Janice was bought this phone case, and there was a 2-for-1 thing, and she had this cassette tape on the back of her phone. She said, "Do you want a phone case?" I said, "No, whatever. I don't care. I'm happy with my phone case as it is." And then she was like, "Oh, they got this old vintage camera on the case. That's cool." And I looked at it and I was like, "Yeah, that is cool." And so this is how you take photos, right? With your phone.
Yeah, most people
Yeah. But what's wrong with the camera on
on
my
your.
phone case? It's upside down
Oh yeah, yeah, that's hilarious.
and it doesn't go to the edge. Look at that. It's
Uh,
embarrassing. So for me to take a photo now and not look like an idiot, I have to have my camera upside down. And even then, look, it doesn't go to the edge.
yeah.
It's embarrassing, but what I'm too cheap to get a different case. So now I've got my upside down vintage camera. I think that could have been cool. Could that not have been cool if
I'm
they
not
did it
a
right?
I'm like a function over form. I do like pretty things, don't get me wrong, but I'm like a function before form.
Okay.
Like I would
When
never
I
buy a camera thing like that for my phone. Mine's just
so
like black.
yeah. No, I totally get that. When I saw the picture of this on the site, I was like, that looks cool. And then when I put it on my phone, it was just like, oh, that looks so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't recommend gear to someone
Well,
starting out.
so I
You
would
talk
and I
about,
wouldn't. Gear makes your stuff better. It does.
but
But
you got to work your way to that.
so let's pretend you had a job and it was a more than likely an actual good job with a corporation. And they're filming content. I can almost guarantee they're filming it on their iPhone. And people are getting paid to film stuff on their iPhone for various corporations every day. Um, is it going to improve your skill? Your framing? Yeah. You're not going to learn like shutter speed and frame rate and all of that from your phone. But you can learn framing. Yeah. I don't know. I think you could do a good job. Could you make a good video on an iPhone? Is the question I think you're asking.
I think you can.
Yeah. I think you could make a great video on an iPhone.
Yeah.
So
And people do it with like photography all the time. I've seen
Yeah.
landscapers doing amazing things on iPhones,
Yeah.
and not just iPhones, right? Other phones, whatever your phone is.
And with cinematic mode now too, it can look really cool.
Yeah.
For when we went to Vegas with Leroy and Leroy, just to avoid the complications of the flight and travel, we
Mhm.
just used Bluetooth mic and an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's just that much easier.
Yep. Gear. Let's because I do want to talk about gear you'd recommend. So let's start with a camera. Would you have
Ooh.
a recommended camera you're just starting out that you would recommend for someone to get to shoot corporate
Well,
videos?
so what budget range are we talking about here?
You're starting out. You got $0 in
You
your
got
pocket.
$0. I would still go DSLR. Talk me out of DSLR. Why wouldn't you go DSLR? Because you could get a good camera body for 1,000, 1,500 bucks.
Yeah. Like
Um,
a 5D Mark II or something
yeah,
in that range. Maybe even a Mark IV. I don't know what they're actually going for now, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. You could get a good DSLR, and you could even shoot on the RP if you wanted to go mirrorless.
That's what I was just going to recommend. Maybe if you wanted to, if you're looking at that $1,000 range, like a brand new RP,
Yeah,
it'll give you videos, it'll give you photos. They're good enough.
because
The
you could.
codecs and what they're using.
Yeah, the nice
Or
thing about going RP, if you were just starting out, you could buy a decent used mirrorless or mirrorless lens,
yeah,
and then you're in the mirrorless universe too, right?
yeah. Basically, keep it cheap is what you're saying. Something that just does the job,
Yeah,
and probably maybe even used to get it even cheaper.
I would go used, get a mic, and the mics are cheap now too. We talked about that a few episodes ago. The DJI is making great mics. You can get them really good mics for under $400.
Yeah, or
You could be up
Hollyland.
and
I would not throw anything away from Hollyland.
yeah, or Hollyland. Yeah, I feel like you could be up and running uh on the cheap. You're not going to be lighting the world on fire with the stuff, but you can really learn a lot for $2,500. You'd be up there and running, get an Amazon light, you'd be fine.
I love how
Would
you're
I
just like tackling everything, getting totally ahead. Lenses, you had one lens to rule them all. To hook onto that, what would you get?
Oh, so if I had to get one lens, boy, that's a good question.
I know
It's,
what one it is for me
it's
already.
so cliched, but I'd go 50.
Yeah,
I'd get a 50. Yeah. Cuz your stuff's going to look good with a 50, and you can always back up for the wide shots if you're grabbing all your B-roll, and your B-roll's going to look sharp with it. And then if you need something wide, pull out your phone, put it in that 0.5 mode. You'll grab a
yeah.
shot with it.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
take
get a 50.
a slightly different approach, and this is where I would actually probably put my money. And again, go with what I recommended or said was an underdog before, but the 70 to 200 2.8. So like if you're
It's going to
shooting,
be
if
expensive though.
yeah, if you're shooting mirrorless, that's a little bit tough. But if you are going, well, even for the RP, you could find a used EF mount one for that
Yeah.
and go that way to save it. But again, you're basically getting what you can't get on your iPhone, and then you use your phone to supplement what you can.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you sort of the best of both worlds. And honestly, I would do that whether I'm trying to get into corporate videos or trying to do landscape photos.
Yes. And we talk about it all the time. Depreciating assets and how the camera world's just a depreciating asset. But lenses, for the most part, are not.
Yeah.
So
The
if you're
70
just
to
starting out,
200 2.8, you'd use your entire life.
yeah. If you are just starting out and you are going to spend money, that's where you spend it. Don't spend it on the body. Don't spend it on the mic. Don't spend it on anything else. Spend your money on the lens, because you could, if it doesn't work out, all the other crap's going down in value, but that lens you'll still be able to sell it. Especially
Yeah.
if you buy it used, probably be able to sell it for as much money as you paid for it.
Yep. Here is one for you, which I think is going to cause you some grief and stress, but a tripod. What do you buy, Nick?
That's a tricky one. My goodness.
I feel like this is where you would want to put money. You'd buy some
Oh,
fancy ass Shatler or something.
you do. I still have my Sackler. Oh, you don't. Okay, so let's pretend. Let's pretend you're just starting out, okay? Me knowing what I know now, I can film a talking head interview with a crap tripod because for the most part, it's just locked off. You don't have to move it. And if you do have to move it, you can cut around it with B-roll. So, man, but I'd want to put money into it. If your budget, if you've only got, so let's go by budget here. If you only have $2,500, don't buy it. Don't spend it on the tripod. If you've got 10 grand, put some money into the tripod.
Yeah. I think even if you say again, you're $0, honestly, again, buy like a photo tripod. There's actually someone on Facebook right now has a Me Photo Road Tripper for like $80. That is a perfect starter tripod because do you know what else that tripod does, Nick?
What's that?
It's got a pan motion in it. So you can even utilize that, which is actually quite killer for $80. But yeah, the other thing I'd recommend is a cheaper tripod. You don't have to be as psychotic as Nick. Manfrotto is okay. They are overpriced for what they are, but it will work. There's some other things too. We use a small rig one at work, which is it's decent. The head has like a little bit of like weird give in it that I don't like. But do you know what? Is it going to make or break our videos? No.
Man,
And I think
dollars per dollar, that those Benro tripods, good value.
yeah, the small rig one, I think we paid $300 for it. And actually, I think if you get the aluminum legs and not the carbon fiber, they're like $150.
Wow.
So absurdly good for the price.
That is really good. So let's.
You talked about lighting. Honestly, I think any cheap lighting that you can get is good enough. Camera bags is maybe another thing. I don't really think you need
You
one.
could put, if you get your stuff in a grocery bag when you're first starting out, you'll be fine.
Yeah, just protect it. Wrap it in towels.
Yeah.
The one thing I do think, do you know what? The other thing too, I'm just going to bring this up because I fought this most of my video life. Drones and gimbals. You do not need one. Period.
You don't. I've got a drone now, and I like it, and I'll bring it out on almost every shoot just to get that wow shot. But does it need it? No, you don't.
Yeah.
Gimbals. I've got. This is how old I am. I've still got my old glide cam. It's completely manual gimbal. It's like the old Steadicam. That's what I use.
Yeah. You don't need it. People will ask for it. And again, sure, it's nice for that one shot, but just remember when you're making a video, it's one shot out of 300.
Yeah, true.
The other piece that we haven't talked about that is essential, and this is also another place where you're going to spend money, but I think you really do need to watch it, is on programs.
What do you mean?
So if you're doing video, you're going to probably buy either Premiere or Final Cut, or do you use DaVinci or any of the free ones, Nick?
Yeah. So I would, if I was just starting out, just get DaVinci.
It's a bit complicated though. Like it's a steep learning curve.
It is, but you're just starting out. You don't know any of the programs yet. So just learn DaVinci. To me, that's your best one to learn right now. That's if I was not as lazy as I am, I would learn how to edit in DaVinci because I use it to color. So that's where I make my look is in DaVinci. I just haven't spent the time to actually edit in there.
Yeah. This is one that is tricky.
Okay, can I ask you something first? Do you have paid DaVinci?
I do not.
You don't?
I
Okay.
I at work we use Premiere just because
Yeah,
we use more of the Adobe suite,
totally.
and at home I use Final Cut Pro just
So you
because
don't have
cost wise it was cheaper.
yeah. Do you know
Although with
DaVinci
that
though?
said, not I don't know it good enough. Like I've seen and I've watched enough, and I've toiled around with the color correction stuff, but it was always for my purposes, for my need. It was more than what I needed,
Okay.
so I just never ever
It's
learned it.
wild now. It's getting so powerful. It is crazy. Yeah. It's masking, like it's quick masks. Crazy. Really
Nice.
cool.
I assume the big companies have stuff like that too.
Yes. It seems to work the best that I've seen. It's so easy to use now anyway.
Yeah. Personally too, I'm just gonna say this again. I made the choice at home to use Final Cut because it's cheaper.
Mhm.
What I also did is I buy the photographer package for Adobe.
Okay.
Uh, again, just because it's cheaper in the long run. Um, and I'm also going to say this. I honestly prefer to edit video on Final Cut over Premiere. Um,
Really?
yeah, once you get used to sort of the weird things about it, or the things that seem weird about it, they're actually kind of nice, and it does help you speed up.
Okay. Can I ask? Okay, I got to talk. We got to bring this back to finances right now. So, did you ever own an Adobe program before they went to the subscription model?
Yeah, I believe the last one I owned was like Adobe 7 or Premiere 7.
So, I
I want to
remember,
say it was a ripped version too. I want to say it was like from 2006 or something.
yeah. So, I had one, I believe it was 2011. I still had um like a paid for version that I owned of Adobe. And then I think they went to subscription shortly after that. Let's see, when did Adobe go to go switch to subscription? 2013 is when they switched to subscription. So I remember when they switched to subscription thinking, this was my thought. I need to buy Adobe stock immediately.
Mm, yeah.
Guess how much Adobe stock I bought?
Would have. Did you actually buy some?
I bought a big goose egg of Adobe
Oh
stock.
God.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to walk you through this right now. In May of 2013, when they switched over, Adobe was worth $65. Oh no, 2013. I'm in the wrong month. Uh, $44 a share. Okay, $44. That was when I had the thought I need to buy the stock. Guess what it's worth now a share?
Wouldn't even know.
$400
So 10
a
times
share.
in
Yeah.
10 years.
So that's yeah. There's moments like that where it's so obvious that they're going to make a ton of money. But you know what I kept thinking? I was like, well, everybody hates the subscription model, so maybe they're going to go bankrupt because nobody's going to use them.
Yeah, you never know. Um, just talking about programs here. So this is Adobe Photoshop. It is what I use. For photos, Nick, would you recommend anything other than Photoshop or Lightroom?
So I use Lightroom, but guess what? I finish all my photos. What I take my photos to before I uh, finalize them or send them to a client. I wonder if you can actually guess this.
Like what you would send them through?
Like what? No, like what I check, like what I go in there to put the final touches on the photo. What I use for that.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna laugh.
It's not Photoshop or Lightroom. I don't even
Yeah.
know.
What I put my final. I have started uploading all of my photos to Google Photo,
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
and it's not for the big swooping change. You're not doing it's not doing all the heavy lifting, but its little auto color correction that it does to it is amazing and is better than what my eye can do. It's better than what Lightroom can do. It puts that final little color correction on that. It if you haven't used it, you should try just uploading a photo that's got a person in it and what it does to skin, like to skin. It's really cool.
I've heard like people like it a lot.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, you're not going to edit your entire photo in there, but it does some cool stuff to it.
Yeah.
So what's your technique here?
Mostly I open this up just so you can see in this corner right here that says 800 millimeter f11 1 second
Okay.
shot at ISO 400 is what I shot. So like
You've got a picture of your classic CBC headroom from the late 90s where you've got trees on the bottom quarter of the frame and then sky at the top.
yeah, I still like it. And it's sort of a focus on that sky. I do think this photo will work. It obviously does need some.
It does. I'm making fun of Emery,
Work,
but
but
he's still because he's got this blue clouds in his bottom third. It still is even following the rule of thirds, even though his trees are a quarter. It still works the way your
funny part
photos
is the one thing is bugging me is there's something on my lens, right? Oh, I went off right there. It's bugging me.
Now, here's a question. Just I know you're going to talk about the Photoshop and what you're doing to the photo. Is it the skyline that's changing? The levels, something's tricking my brain here.
What do you mean?
Is the camera level right now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, right? Like, so this line here is level, where this line right here is not.
Yeah. All right, here, walk us through what you're going to do. I'll be quiet.
I really have no rhyme or reason, Nick, at this point. I'm just sort of toying with things.
You're just messing around. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I was telling you about taking landscape photos on an 800, and that's what I did. So this whole like series is all done on that 800. So that's a cabin off in it. Then eventually back out to the wide. So this is actually a 100 to 400. So the same thing, focusing on the colors in the skies. That one's decent. So the reflection in the water. Anyways,
some fire photos.
Yeah, was doing some stuff trying to get the sparks and that from it. And yeah, that's our last fishing trip. So that's what I like to do. I go out fishing and try.
I like that with the cabin in the background. That's cool.
Yeah, we'll see if it turns out. I would like one of these ones with a little more, less smoke, but more spark.
Yeah. Well, the other option that it looked like you were going for in some of them is the stars. Looks like you're getting some great sky.
So what ends up happening here when it gets dark was actually a storm. So if you can't really see it, but it's lightning that's off. There you go, some lightning over in this corner.
There's more cabins than I pictured there being when you tell me you're going way up north.
Yeah, this was actually Manitoba. So our north trip got canceled because of all the fires up there. Literally, the literal lake we were going to is on fire, which is kind of sad because I guess it means we're not going there.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah. Anyways, programs I think are important. Obviously, I use Photoshop. Weirdly, I don't use Lightroom as much. I tried to get into it, but I can't.
I like it. It's easy.
Yeah.
Kind of got my buttons that I like to push in it. Works for me.
Photoshop Raw and Lightroom are very similar, so that's sort of like my play off. I need to learn like how to organize better in Lightroom. And I've been saying this for like 10 years.
Yeah. All right. Any advice for us before we head out?
No real advice, but I do have a question for you, Nick. So we've talked about like gear and getting people into starting out. How do we get people interested into photography?
That's actually a great question now because I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like people are taking more photos than have ever been taken before. So there's more photos being taken. And I would say that there's better photos being taken for the most part because the portrait mode on the iPhone, pretty sweet. Cinematic mode, pretty sweet. How do you get them interested in it? Boy, do you have any advice on that? I got to think of something because
Um, it's a tough thing. Like I do wonder, honestly, too, where I kind of came up with this question or this idea from is I follow a finance show called Money with Katie. And I actually asked her this question, like, because when I went through like my financial journey, I didn't find her stuff until I was actually interested in it and I wanted to
Mhm.
improve and I wanted to do it. And so I asked her that question. Like, it seems to me like a lot of people, this is how they get into it. They're not just like out there one day and Jimmy told me to follow you and I gave you a follow and it's changed my life. It doesn't really happen that way.
Ooh.
Um, how she answered the question, which was kind of interesting. Um, she said that they try to ease people into a talk about something else, and then bam, it's money, or bam, it's camera, which got me kind of thinking, is that something maybe we should do or something we can do on this podcast?
Like, so if you're, you know what? Okay, you're right. So I have to shift it from a career in business to what it is at its core, and it's a hobby. Really, it's the hobby of taking photos and videos. So yeah, how do you get somebody interested in the hobby of taking photos? Maybe
Yeah,
that's more the question that you're asking. Okay.
yeah, or like growing that passion even too, right? Like you said, so many people are taking photos on their iPhone. How do you get them from that point?
Mhm.
Actually, even take like your mom as a painter, for an example. She's got some skills. She knows what's
Mhm.
going on with composition. Why does she not get
Yeah.
into photos?
So you know what's interesting? She's tried it before, but what ultimately got her off of photos is all the settings. So she had a
Mhm.
DSLR. She bought
Simplifying
the
it.
50 lands and was taking some good photos, but it just got to be too much. All the settings, all the stuff, and then she actually sold her camera.
So the reality is maybe people don't want to because it's difficult. And like, so making the jump from a phone to a camera is too much.
For her, in her instance, yes. But she's fine just taking photos on her iPhone now. But she was turning it into a hobby, like would go out and photograph like fences and flowers and all that kind of stuff. But the she did find it frustrating her lack of knowledge on how to make it how she wanted. Because when she was painting, she could just paint it however she wanted.
Mhm. Interesting. I think it's a great question. I feel like someone smarter than us has a better answer than us out there. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping, someone
Story
does
of my
watch
life.
this. Yeah. And they do have a good tidbit on how to get people more into it. Um,
That's a
and
great question to open up. That's
yeah,
something,
and just
maybe
be
even
like a
ask it on our Facebook.
yeah, I think that's kind of actually a big part of you and I. I think we're both pretty big advocates for like when people talk to us, like we'll gladly share whatever
Yeah.
and try to get people into it. I think that is maybe part of it. I think it's part of what attracts us to doing this podcast thing as well, is that sort of advocacy work. Um, but yeah, again, there's everybody out there, our listeners, they can be advocates too. They can promote things
Yeah,
to
I love
people
it.
or
Grow the
give people
hobby.
help.
That's a good
Um,
way to think of it.
yeah.
That's
Anyways, I
cool.
I think that's a good way to end the show too, is they get people thinking. And yeah, leave us a comment somewhere if you got a good idea.
Yeah. Awesome.
There we go.
Love it. Good one,
Yeah.
Emery.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time once I figure out how to work this thing.
Right
there we
on. We'll see you later.
go. See. Have a good one, everybody.